I have just come back from a 2-week break away. When I say a break, what I mean is I go and stay with my parents for 2 weeks. They live quite far away, so every 3 months I go down there for 2 weeks and catch up with family and friends and just get a chance to be with family because I live so far away. Now, what I used to do, I would pack loads of things that I sold in my online store in my car. I would take it with me and I would carry on selling and I'd keep my stores open, and I've stopped doing that because it's just not worth the effort. Things are quite slow at the moment. So what I do now, I put my Etsy stores on vacation, I add a banner to my Shopify, and I just don't bother. It's not worth it for the few sales I get whilst I'm away. Bagging everything up, boxing it, sticking it in the car, taking it down, getting it into the house. For what? Maybe £10–20 if I'm lucky. So I've stopped bothering with that. It just isn't worth the effort. I came back from being away and I've reopened the stores. Etsy isn't doing too badly this year actually, and I tend to find that putting things on vacation doesn't actually really make any difference. I used to be really worried about it, but I don't think it really makes a difference. One of the things I have noticed recently is I know that Etsy has apparently been having a clampdown on scammers and on bad shops. But what I have now noticed is that on one of my 2 shops, every time I list a new item, I get swamped with scammers. And this is the smaller of my 2 shops, so I don't know if it's related to that somehow, but every time I put a new listing on, so I came back and I put 4 new things on my second Etsy store, which is a vintage store. I sell some things for my dad, who has lots of old stuff left over from work and from his parents, and sometimes he just doesn't want to keep things, so I sell them for him on my second Etsy store. And every time I list something there, I get a deluge of scammers. This never used to happen. I never ever used to get scammed on either of my Etsy shops, and I've had my Etsy shops for years, and this seems to be a new trend, just getting absolutely swamped with scammers, and it's really annoying. And every time I go into Etsy, they've changed something. I hear that the fees are going up. I recently, in the last month or so, deleted the Etsy app off my phone because it would never notify me when I had a sale. I've just gone back to checking my emails because I have it set up for all the notifications, and I just do it that way because the app was absolutely useless, just taking up memory space on my phone. So I've got rid of that, and I still list things on Etsy. I don't list most of my clothing designs on Etsy now. I don't see the point. I think it's a waste of my money, but I do still list all the haberdashery. I still list the coasters, and I still list some of the jewellery. It's tricky because I'm running the Etsy shop and also I have it all the same stuff, or most of the same stuff, over on Shopify. You have to be really careful to make sure that if someone buys from one of your stores, that you've removed it from the other. And because I don't have a great volume of sales, that's quite easy for me to manage. But if I had more sales, it would be more difficult. But I try to separate things out, so I want my Shopify store to be more exclusive. So the clothing is on there, and all of the bags that I make, and the jewellery. And I do also list the coasters there because the coasters have been selling there quite well. But I try to keep a range of things on Etsy because I know that people do still use it as a go-to for buying online, in the same way that they would eBay or Amazon or one of the others. So I do keep those stores alive. I also have my Shopify store listed in my Etsy links. You're allowed to do that, and so it may be that people will gravitate from one to the other. My Shopify traffic is improving. YouTube does seem to be providing most of the follow-through traffic, which is really good. This channel, my business channel, is still really, really small. And I know why. It's because this is not what people come here for. They're not interested in the way I do my behind the scenes. And I'm also quite erratic. I have a personal YouTube channel as well, which is doing really, really well, and that's where most of my posts go. And it's just because I enjoy it more over there. I talk about my day-to-day life and my frugal life and things like that, so there's always something to talk about. Here on my my business YouTube channel, there's less to talk about. I'm not doing as much. When I started to see a very strong downturn in online sales for what I made a year or two ago, I started to look at side hustles, started to look at other ways to make money, because I couldn't rely on my business to provide me with an income anymore. And I've become more involved in that because that's really paid off. I am now not using any of my savings at all. All of my side hustles, and I have about 6 or 7 side hustles now doing different things, including my paid YouTube channel I got monetized at the end of last year. And that, all of those things together pay my bills, and combined obviously with the sales that I make here on my business. Everything across the board is paying my bills and still allows me to have a quality of life, a good work-life balance, the freedom to go out and do the things I want to do, and all my bills get paid and there's some money left over. I've started a private pension, I've started a stocks and shares ISA. So things have really improved over the last couple of years, but not in my business. And I know that I need to do better. I have stepped away from the business because other things were paying better and paying faster with less work. But I know that I need to do better with my Shopify store. But I just can't find the energy for it. I did a post recently about how I've bought some new fabrics, and I will get into that. I do want to start making stuff again. The weather's improving, the days are longer and lighter, my energy is coming back, I can feel my creativity coming back. I'm almost there now. I need to get out and start working on my little garden patch, and that will really help my my kind of mental well-being when it comes to the weather changing and getting out of that hibernation status that we all seem to get into in winter when it's cold and dark and we just want to eat. Because winters are hard here, because I tend not to put my heating on, so I have to find ways to stay warm, and it usually involves 3 jumpers, a blanket and a hot water bottle, and I just go into semi-hibernation. And I never really do a lot of creativity over winter because it's just zapped by the weather and the lack of daylight. And I accept that as almost a seasonal difference in the way I run my business, is that in winter I just won't make anything. I have loads of stock, I have loads of stuff already made. It's not like there's nothing in my stores, but I'm just not making new stuff because I just don't have the mental energy for it. And I know lots of people deal with that. So that's my little update, because I was going to get better with updates and I still haven't been better with updates. I need to focus, I need to put aside time to focus on doing more with the store. I need to populate my Instagram, my business Instagram more. That has been thrown by the wayside. I've almost completely stopped using social media, full stop. I have 2 Instagram accounts that if I go into once a week, it's a miracle. YouTube is my place to be. I don't use any other social media. I can't be bothered with it. I tried with Pinterest to get better with posting links. I didn't see any change, and I'm fed up with spending lots of time, putting lots of time and effort into things that don't work. And I know that it's partly because I am a very small business. I don't have the clout. There are a ton of businesses out there doing what I'm doing. I don't get heard above the volume. When you're on Instagram, you see a post, you click off it, you'll never see it again, because there's just so much. And I'm fed up with all the advertising that I see on YouTube, on Instagram, sorry. I'm fed up with the advertising. I'm fed up with the sponsored posts. I'm fed up with the huge amount of AI generated stuff that's on there from users who are just posting rubbish images created by AI. You know, there's Instagram seems to have almost completely lost itself. I only follow a set number of particular accounts which are real accounts. But when you go into your feed, they just throw everything at you. Most of the stuff that appears in my feed isn't from people I follow, and I hate the way Instagram has just completely hijacked my curated feed with all their trash, basically. YouTube, I don't have to worry about that. I have ad blockers which seem to be working. don't see ads very often at all anymore on YouTube, and I know that they were stopping people using ad blockers, but for some reason I go through phases where it'll force me to take my ad blocker off for a bit, and then it disappears again. So I don't have to put up with all the advertising. I'm fed up with being advertised at for things that I don't want, for things that I don't need. I find it really overwhelming and unnecessary. So with all of Etsy's changes, I suppose I've kind of started to ghost Etsy. I don't go in there that often. I go in there to check if things that I want to relist have expired yet. I get all my notifications on my email anyway, so I don't tend to go in there that often. And every time I go in, there seems to be a change. The layout's changed. There's different things being offered. It's shoving things in my face that I don't want to know about. And I'm just bored of it. I just think Etsy's had its day. It's trying really hard to backtrack over its let everybody sell on us. And it's too late. They've damaged the reputation, and with the possibility of more increased fees coming, I just think, do I want to spend that money? I know it's not an enormous amount of money at the moment, but I get a better deal on my Shopify, and I need to work on that. I really need to do better on my Shopify store. I just need to find that mental energy to get stuck into it and to feel like it's worth the effort. So that needs to be my plan going forward. I need to be locked in a room with a laptop and no YouTube and no other income streams to make me focus on it. I am too distracted by all the other things that are making me money at the moment, by a nice work balance which allows me to not have to work all the time. And I suppose in that respect I've got a bit lazy, and that reflects in my sales. It's the only person I can blame for my lack of sales really is me, I think. But it takes a long time to build up sales. It's not a case of, oh, I'll do some Instagram posts, I'll do this, I'll do that, and everything will start to sell. It can take months and months and months and months and months of continuous effort. And when you don't enjoy doing marketing and advertising, I had my personal YouTube channel for a year before I was monetized. And I dedicated myself to that because I really enjoyed it. It was something new for me. It was a new outlet for me, for my life, and I was learning new skills. I was learning recording and video editing and all those other little things, and I really enjoyed it. And it paid off naturally. I wasn't even really trying, but I know that I need to put in so much work onto the Shopify. And I have to kind of decide if I just want to keep my business now as a side hustle that I do for a creative outlet, and great if I sell some stuff, and focus on the other things that are making more money. That might be how I have to do this, and I need to take a step back and enjoy the fact that I can create when I want to, not because I'm a factory machine. So there's some thoughts for April. The trees are in blossom. I've got a beautiful blossom tree outside where I live here, but the weather's still a bit hit and miss, still quite cold, lots of rain. Oh, we've had so much rain beginning of April, so it doesn't feel like we're quite there yet. Come on, spring. Bring in the sunshine, bring in the warmth, and let me get creative again. And I'll catch you soon. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.